Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about $200 tournament in a local casino I played on the Cyber 28 and do some hand analysis. So the structure is the starting stack is 20k and 20-minute levels. Blinds start at 100 to 100. Let's jump into the hands. One is like a top pair, top kicker, probably more of a standard one. Blinds 100 to 100. I have ace king of suit on UTG 9, which is like essentially UTG when there are 9 players, and I raise to 600, and there are 3 calls. Not super great, but the flop is favorable to me with ace queen 6. So it checks. I decide to bet on a larger side because I have a range and nut advantage, and get one caller. Turn is a 10. So it checks. I decide to check for pot control since stacks are still pretty deep, and ace queen ace 10 can be kind of likely among my opponent's range. So I know there are like more cards which are like not given to pair, but I kind of don't want to gamble on this and like early stage of a tournament. River is 4. So I bet 3.2k and opponent calls. I end up winning. Know that like if there's been like maybe a flush draw or like some more like visible open-ended straight draw, it would be more like wise to bet the turn. But here now I think there wasn't anything. So that said, maybe I missed on some value, because if opponent would like call maybe 3 streets with say ace jack or like ace 9, then yeah, I could have gotten maybe several like 5k or something. Next one is aces. Well, this one is the hand that plays itself. Blinds 100 to 100. I have aces on small blind. UTG 9 raises to 1.1k. I 3 bet to 4k, like because I'm out of position, so it's a bit larger, and get a call. So know that like UTG 9 just like made a very oversized raise. I think if it's been like 600, I made it like 2k, then it's probably gonna be like way less money in the pot and like 2 times less, and maybe it's gonna be easier for my opponent to get away. Flop is 5-3-3 with 2 diamonds. A continuation bet large because based on strength of my hand and just to like protect versus draws. UTG 9 just goes all in for 16k or so. I'm not too worried about any like sets because it's been like a large raise. Also, my 3 bet is very large, so it's so like calling for a set mining is not by like odds. Although some opponents would still do it. But I think it's like less likely, so more likely is just opponent may have some like kings, queens, maybe jacks, and that's one of the hands my opponent had, like 1 versus queens. I got myself 47k stack. Playing a set, blinds 200, 300. I have 10s on big blind, cutoff raises to 800, the button calls, and I decide to call. If it's just versus cutoff, GTO suggests 3 bet with 10s and also with 9s. But with like button involved, I don't know what the like the exact GTO play is here. And I think if I'm getting at least one caller, this hand may be like tougher to play post flop, so I just decide to like play it more passively and not invest like too much money. That said, 3 bet is, I think it's also a viable option, given that cutoff and button ranges are pretty wide, and I can win like quite a lot on pre-flop. So I flopped the set with ace 10 4, I think, with 2 hearts and 1 spade. So it checks. I check to the razor, but like razor didn't bet and button didn't bet. Turn is 8 of spades, so it's double draw. So I do like go for a slight overbet. So and only button calls. River is an 8, giving me a full house. At this point, I'm thinking that I'm trying to extract a value from like some ace, most likely. So I bet like not super large, maybe about like half of the pot. And button calls. I win. Button doesn't show, but comments about having ace 10 and even like having a blocker. So that's a bit of a cooler, but like I'm surprised that button didn't bet the flop though. Also, like I think maybe like it would still cost him some money. Um, so let's say he bets like maybe smaller, something like 2k. Then I I might just call that. So then he like then there may be some bet of like maybe he can bet like 4k or so, and turn gets raised, and maybe then consider folding. But it's hard to say because maybe he can like overcommit to his hand and just doesn't recognize that he's beat, and just like can invest all the money into the pot. So maybe check was actually like lucky for him. 4-bet bluff, blinds 200, 400. I have ace 4 of spades in middle position and raise to 1k. Cut off 3 bets me to like 3k. I'm going all in for effective like 13k or so. So this is actually also like approved by GTO. I think actually I checked that like I think ace 4 goes all in most of the time. I think ace 3 goes all in some proportion of the time, but ace 5 just calls. So that's not very intuitive, but I think I got it right. And opponent folds and shows jacks. So my stack is 60k. Some bluffs like this are necessary if you wanna get called with your like nut hands. Otherwise, it's just like too obvious that you have a nut hand when you like 4-bet, and also like sometimes bluffs can just like give you money for free. And even if I'm getting called, I still have my like 30% equity, which is not super bad. Kings, again another hand that kind of played itself. So blinds 200, 400, have kings on a big blind. UTG9 raises to 1.5k. There are 2 calls. I raise to 9k. Sizing is like 6k for like 4x for like out of position, plus 1.5k for each caller. UTG9 is all in for 16k. There are folds and I obviously call. And win versus ace queen offsuit. It's probably like a relatively poor play by my opponent because I'm effectively like putting him all in. So he must have thought that I'm like bluffing, but again, the probability of a bluff is not as high, given that I'm like versus like 3 opponents. But again, I think sometimes players would still bluff even in such spots. But I think like I don't know, in a tournament, it seems like more likely that people wouldn't bluff in this spot. Another hand is playing top pair. Blinds has gone up quite substantially. I have ace queen of suit on cutoff. There are 3 limpers. I raise to 6k and get 1 caller. Flop gives me a top pair with like ace jack and some small card. So it checks. I decide to lay a trap because my opponent was like a short stack. And my hand felt like pretty secure. Turn is a 9. There is a check. I decide to like just not still play it anymore and just like try to make it look like I'm still in the pot and go all in for effective like 10k and get a call. There is a check and the win versus queen 9. That was a surprising hand. I thought that maybe okay I can like probably get a call from an ace or something, or maybe jack, but opponent like just didn't believe me at all. So it's been a bit of a luck, and stack is 95k. So overall, really good so far. Let's see how this continues. Have jacks versus 2 people. Blinds 1k, 1.5k. I have jacks on big blind. Early position all in for 16k, which is like 10 big blinds. There is a bit of a fishy aggro middle position who like had a big stack but kind of blundered with doing some like aggressive plays with like some garbage hands. So he's all in for 33k. So that's like around 22 big blinds. So I decide to call. I was thinking that like first player may push with like a pretty wide range of hands, and second player also like seems like since he's been doing like a pretty wide like plays, so I thought he also maybe repushing with some like weaker hands. And also GTO suggests like if big blind versus like under the gun all in is like jacks is a call, and actually many pairs is a call, like up to sixes. So I think I made the right call, just got unlucky. So it was like also pretty brutal. So I flopped a set, but then ace queen got a runner straight. That's kind of unfortunate. And it still took a significant chunk of my stack, so it's like 60k now. So yeah, despite me having like a huge stack and like very big advantage in the beginning, like blinds keep like chasing. Another hand is like weak top pair. I have like 9-7 or sorry 8-7 of spades in the middle position. Now the middle position raises to 5k. I decide to call, and big blind calls. I checked for it by GTO later, and it suggests a fold. So minimum like suited connector to call is like 10 9 with this like kind of stack with like 30 big blinds. So I imagine 10-9 is just good because it like makes good straights, while like 8-7 can like if I make like 10 jack queen, or sorry 9 jack 9-10 jack, that I can be against like king queen, which is like in my opponent raising range. That may be disadvantage. Overall GTO seems to like hands like I don't know 6-5 suited, but it's still mostly like in deep stack cash games. Like 8-9s, 8-7 suited is like not super great. But in the tournament, like with 30 big blinds, you fold lower connectors as well. But this time I get lucky. I get like top pair with 8-2 and also backdoor flush draw. So there is a bet around 7k or so. I just call. I might consider a raise here, but if I'm against an overpair, it's not gonna fold, so I don't wanna like overblow the pot, and maybe I can get off the hook cheaper, or at least not lose all my stack. And also, if opponent is bluffing with like some high cards, they don't have as much chances to improve, so I can just like let him keep blasting. So I think it's just call is better here. Turn is six of spades, giving me a flush draw. It is a bet of 11k. I decide to call for similar reasons. By the way, if like a scary card comes, maybe like a queen or so, and there is another bet, I'm not folding. I'm just at least calling one more bet. Also in the tournament there is more consideration for raise, I think, because just getting the money already in the pot may be pretty good result, and like if you are trying to get more money, with maybe you like get higher expectation, but you also have a higher risk of just like losing the pot overall when the high card comes and you may not know where you stand. So I think maybe on the turn I could have gone all in or like raised on the flop as well. Yeah, at the same time river is like 3 to the check. I decide to that my opponent may just have like high cards, so I just bet 5k to like try to get them to call, and I get this call and I win. Yeah, I think it's overall a pretty good result, and stack is 90k. Ace 10 of suit versus short stack. Blinds 1.5k, 3k. I have ace 10 of suit and hijack. I think that's just a raise. Small blind will in for 17k. So just around like 6 big blinds, so I have an easy call. And I got lucky versus jacks. Stack 105k. And then it seems like by the notes that I lost quite a bit of stack by like maybe several tens of thousands. So I may just need to like work on improving my like kind of short to medium stack play. Then there's this like big blind versus blind hand. Blinds already 3k, 5k. Have queen 7 suited on big blind, small blind limps, I check, and that's also like GTO play. Flop gives me a top pair with queen 10, 8. Small blind bets 6k, I decide to call. I feel pretty confident about my hand. Again, in the tournament I can just like raise and try to take the pot of what's already there. That's also maybe a decent choice because like maybe like 9 or like jack gives some makes the board pretty scary, and also ace and king can make the board pretty scary. But maybe I'm just being results oriented here. So turn is a king, small blind bets 11k or so. I again call. No reason to give up just yet. River is a 9, which is, so I think it actually saved me some money because like it checks and I lose to king 4 offsuit. Opponent get his like 3 outer. So yeah, maybe a raise would have won me a pot right away, but again, like when opponent is drawing pretty thin, then you can just let them draw and maybe they would like bluff more into you. So, and of course it's better when you're just not getting outdrawn by a 3 outer. Well, and stack is 50k, so it's just only 10 big blinds. It's it's almost like push fold territory, but not quite. Then I got into a race with like ace 5 of spades on UTG7. This is a limp. I decided to just go all in because if there's a limp I raised to maybe like 15k, it's already a third of my stack or so. So late position goes all in for 44k and early position folds. So I against king queen offsuit, but end up losing on the river when opponent got a queen. So yeah, just unlucky. And my stack is just one big blind effectively. And now I have like 2 hands to invest my chips. So next hand I get ace 5 offsuit. G9 raises to 15k. This raise is not great. Because it may be like pretty strong and I may be already dominated. At the same time, like I have a choice of investing with like ace 5 offsuit or like waiting for like a random hand and like pushing it on next hand. So I decided ace 5 suit or ace 5 offsuit is like still pretty good, and oftentimes I just not getting like anything better. I may just get like, I don't know, 6 deuce offsuit or whatnot. So I decided to get in and like big blind calls as well, and in the end I lose to like pocket sevens. So I got my good odds here, so it's like 30% or so, and like if I win, the pot would my stack would be like, I don't know, 18k plus 3k, 21k, 4 big blinds. Well, still not great, but like I can push all in on the next hand, but it didn't happen. So overall, it seems like I need to like work better on like a situation when the stacks are like medium size to make sure I'm like stealing enough blinds and not getting like bullied too much. So I'll just keep working on my like GTO opening ranges for like small stack sizes, maybe like 20 big blinds, 25 or maybe 30 big blinds. And also there seems to be like a patterns of like it's similar to my previous tournament, except like this time I lost a flip. Well, sometimes you just gotta win your flips as well to like get good results in tournaments. That's maybe how it is. So I ended up close to the money, but didn't quite make it. Right, that's gonna be it for today. Thanks everyone for watching and see you next time.